Action Everything Trust Nothing, guys. Welcome back for another episode of TA Thursday here around the charts. Today we've got Frankie Candles, the one, the only. We got Magic Internet Money, and last but not least, we got Bill Noble in the house. What's up, guys? How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Are you guys pumped like the markets are? Because the markets have been pumped.
I'm always a flat level of excited, you know that.
Up only.
So the market, right? The market's overall market cap is up 5.9%, up 6% in total. Bitcoin's been pumping like 7% in the last 24 hours. You know, overall, massive green happening this week. Since yesterday, right? We saw some massive Bitcoin candles just pumping, breaking through all types of ranges, all types of pivots, all types of volume profiles, right? So what? Before we even get started, before we even look at the charts, right? How are you guys feeling about the markets right now? Some people are talking about 30,000. Some people are talking about coming back down lower. How are you guys feeling overall in the market right now? Frankie, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. So do you want me to share a chart? Or you want to just kind of give my thoughts first?
Oh, you can share your chart if you want. If you want to talk it through, or you can just give your thoughts up at first.
For sure. I'll pull up a chart real quick. Hopefully, can you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. So yeah, I do have to say I'm probably for the first time in a while leaning somewhat bullish in the medium to longer term. The fact that we have made a higher high on the weekly has been one of those big reasons why I am feeling a bit bullish here. And then, you know, we do have some other things kind of looking at market cipher here. We do have the confirmed monthly green dot. You know, obviously, you know, I always talk about this, you know, anytime I bring these things up, you know, just because we have a green dot, you know, if you're looking at any indicator or anything, you know, I'm not just saying, you know, feeling bullish because there's a green dot. It's kind of a multitude of things. The higher high on the weekly has me feeling pretty good. The monthly green dot also, this is kind of, if you go back and test these, you know, you could see back here in 2015, we actually got 2 of these monthly green dots. So it doesn't always necessarily indicate, you know, a massive move up, because we did kind of get faked out here in 2015. But every single time in the past that we've gotten a monthly green dot, the bottom has already come in, right? So you can see here, bottom came in here in January, and then you know, our first monthly green dot was in July, and then we got the second one in November. But even when that first green dot printed, the bottom had already come in all the way over here. Same thing in 2018. You can see that green dot printed on the monthly right here. Bottom came in all the way back here. So this does have me, you know, this is something I have my eye on. You know, monthly green dot got me feeling pretty good. Again, the higher high on the weekly, and then also this was something we have been looking at on my channel for quite some time. Was that weekly bullish divergence that we got? Really was when I first started kind of thinking, hey, we might see things flip around here. And then we confirmed that bull div. And then I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks that we had that confirmed bull div before we finally saw it play out. So I was calling for upside for those entire, you know, 5 weeks of sideways price action. I was like, this bull div has got to play out at some point. And then finally we got the move up. So I would say I am feeling pretty good, at least in the longer term.
So right now, are you saying that this is the upper range of the price action you're expecting, or you're expecting us to go a little bit higher? Can Bitcoin sustain its movement towards that 30K with what you're seeing right now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So let me just share that chart one more time. I'll show you guys one more thing. So, you know, looking here at the volume profile, obviously, this is something that I really do look at a lot. And kind of what we're looking at here is we're retesting these highs from August of 2022. You can see we are, you know, we just came up and tapped these highs today. But if you come and look at the volume profile, you can see we do have a massive low volume gap here. So we're kind of, in my opinion, knocking on the door to potentially open up that door to, you know, much higher prices, or at least decently higher prices. You know, first major target I would be looking at to the upside if we can get past or, you know, actually fly into this low volume gap between 28 and 30K, I would say is in the cards if we can get into that gap. And then, you know, we have that 786 fib level coming in, you know, right at about 28K. Just to kind of, you know, first stop, in my opinion, would be to come up and retest the lows that we made here back in May of 2022. So because of that gap, and, you know, because of that gap, I am thinking if we could get above this level, I would be expecting to come up potentially to that 28 to 30K level that we've all been looking at for so long.
Let's go, baby. That's right, guys. Smash the likes if you haven't smashed the likes. Go follow all these guys if you're not following them yet. And last but not least, make sure you drop a 1 if you think we're going to 30K right now, guys. Drop a 1 in the chat if you think we're going to 30K. Drop a 2 if you don't think so. So with that being said, Bill, how are you feeling? What are you seeing in Bitcoin right now? Do you think we're headed towards that 30K, or do you think that we're coming a little bit lower? What are your thoughts right now? How are you feeling?
Two things. Gensler has declared war on stablecoins. So this market is going back to where it was in 2017, where you had two choices, altcoins or Bitcoin. Right? This market is up only like this because no institutional manager, no family office, nobody holding crypto can get caught depegged in some stablecoin, whether it's likely or not likely. They got to get out. So as
That's
soon
a
as
very
Gensler,
good point.
right,
That's a very good point.
the USDC headline hit, Gensler coming after USDC supposedly, and market was up only. Second point, Magic has 26 to 27. So last 2 weeks on crypto Twitter, oh my God, there's resistance at 24K. No, there isn't, because Magic has 26 to 27, last I heard. So the way this seems to play out, right, is I'm just like, you know what? If it's 26 to 27, right, in Bitcoin, and we're back to where we were in 2017, that means it's Bitcoin to 26, and then there's an expanding range in ETH, right? So instead of a triangle, it's an expanding range. Now, I looking at this, and I'm like, I've seen this before. This is like mega bearish, crisis, FTX, right down over here, up, and then expanding range. And people are like, oh, I don't know. Is it too late? Is it bearish? Okay, well, let me give you the answer. Back here in 2009, end of great financial crisis, rally, expanding range, stair step higher for a year or more. Exact same phenomenon.
Are you saying that you think Ethereum is going to lead the charge, or you're saying that that's all plays in with Bitcoin and Ethereum right now because of the stablecoin issue?
Okay, good question. I do think I have Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Maybe we can show that later when I call it up. There's a diamond formation in ETH versus Bitcoin. So I actually do think Bitcoin goes to 27 or whatever level Magic has, right? And then ETH takes over from there.
But
sorry.
I just want to reiterate. So I want to reiterate to the people in the chat listening about the point that you made about stablecoins, right? Because in 2017, 2018, there was not a lot of trading pairs with stablecoins. It was literally a lot of the trading pairs were with Ethereum and with Bitcoin. Those were all the majority of the trading pairs. So you had to be holding Bitcoin or Ethereum to be getting in and out of these positions. Now, with the influx of stablecoins, everybody's creating a stablecoin, right? A lot of people can sit on the sidelines in crypto on a stablecoin, and a lot of trading pairs have opened up from that, which kind of deters money from entering into Bitcoin and Ethereum long term. But you pointing out the Gary Gensler situation, going after because there's Gary Gensler, there's the Paxos with the BUSD situation also going on, right? A lot of the stablecoin stuff is kind of like, okay, what's going on? Are they going to get smashed, right? What's happening here with regulation? That is a very good point, that a lot of money could start flowing back into Ethereum and Bitcoin for trading pairs, in my viewpoint. So if anybody didn't know about that, make sure you do your own research and figure it out. But that I like that point. That was a really, really good point. Magic, apparently you are the master and you tell us where Bitcoin is headed. So what's going on with Bitcoin, man?
I've been bullish on Bitcoin for a while. December 14th was like the first day I publicly made it known what I was potentially looking for about $27,000, give or take. Last year, it's just the recipe was there, and it's a mean reversion. Does it mean it has to stop there and reject there? No, it can go higher. And if we look at the chart a little bit, we can.
What did you call it? A mean reversion?
Yeah, that's all this is. I gave the same level. So I gave 47,707 in February of last year when we were trading at about 35. And I said it would come at the end of March, probably. March 28th was the date I gave, and that's actually the date that it happened on. So I was pretty happy with that. And so I've done something similar for this upcoming year. All I'm doing is dividing up sections of price and using time essentially to predict on how long it might take to get there if volatility remained the same over the same amount of time. It doesn't always work out that way though. But in this case, you're looking for 26,724. It's your yearly average from last year. So if you took all the price from last year and you divided the open high, or yeah, the high low close divided by 3 in this instance, that is going to give you an average of price. And this is the average. On a hit by hit basis, these hit at over 80% year over year. So you can expect a return to this area on the chart pretty consistently. And it's usually pretty good support and resistance as well. It doesn't have to be, but it oftentimes is. And that's what we got when we came up to 47,707. That was the average of price from 2021. 2022's average is up here. As soon as we deviated this range and started making this move back up, I entered long at 16.6. I've shared my take profits with everyone on Twitter as I'm doing it. And I took a take profit here today at 25,222, just paying myself incrementally on that leverage position. And I am closing out back into inverse perpetual, meaning that I will hold Bitcoin as a spot out of it. So I'm not closing into USDT or stable coins, to Bill's point, mainly because the rally doesn't have to end here. And if you take a look at this in terms
does
of,
that mean there's a chance that there's a chance?
there's always a chance. But if you look here, I have the 2021 open. I'm going to extend these to the left if I can. Well, I don't think I can. We'll go. You get the idea. 2021 open is here and the 2021 low is here. And if you go out to the yearly chart, that's where this really makes sense. You can see it here, right? So that's where these lines come from. And this is your next big area. And the main reason is this was support and resistance for all of 2021 and a good portion of 2022 even. If you go out to the daily again, now that they're extended over, you can see this is exactly where we bounced from. So the levels make sense now. Like we have a rhyme and a reason. Now, in terms of gauging the move, I did the same thing with this range here. This is how we actually determined when we were breaking down and how we were going to be getting movements throughout. You just take certain pivots within certain time frames. So I use a 6-month session a lot of times. Highs and lows. This is your pivot low, pivot high, pivot low. Then you broke your timeline. Now we're looking for expansion to the downside, and we had our targets accordingly. But 47,707 was that level we were looking for shorts, and then you just write it down. So now we are in a very similar situation where we're looking for when is the next local top. We can do the exact same thing. Doesn't have to play out the exact same way. However, a lot of times, things do rhyme, and you can see that this is playing out so far. And so I'm still looking at this as a local top coming into resistance. And it's a really wide resistance zone, in my opinion. I'm not looking to do anything fancy with it. I've just got my 2 boxes here. They're based on time and price. And this is when I expected us to get up to this region. I've posted this on my Twitter as well. I think a lot of people look at it and they have no idea what they're looking at, but it's a very simple idea. You can see you ran into the gold pocket here in your 24K zone. 24/7 is absolutely key right now. And we can get on that low time frames. But this is the ultimate area that I would like to see hit if we get a rejection. And then it's more of a cooling off period. And if it cools off and makes a higher low, or maybe it doesn't and it blows through this and we're much more bullish than I anticipated, it doesn't really matter. We're not fighting the move. We're not looking for shorts here necessarily. You might in this region if the setup is there. However, not really looking for a swing short, just looking maybe for intraday trades, but definitely looking for longs this whole way up, which is good. It was an easy trading move, in my opinion. Once the move got underway and it was very clear where we were going, you just keep your broader targets in mind. And I think that this is where we're going. Do I think if we get above this box, I will say that I do become slightly more bullish. I do just target at that point about 32. And then you have I call it a 3M2 NPOC from a Q2 session back in 2022. That would be hit around 38,922, give or take, would be my next target after that. So that's how I'm playing it, level to level. But definitely going with the trend until I see weakness.
Quick follow-up. So you were saying about 32 and then even moving up to 38. Is there any point in there that you're looking like, okay, this could be a top and then we're not going to keep going up and we're coming down? Is there any target like that you're looking at? You're kind of worried like, hey,
I wouldn't say a target. So yeah, it's actually a 6M1, not a 3M2, excuse me, a 6M1. So a 6-month range in POC at 38,922. And the reason I really like this spot is not anything to do with fibs. This is more volume range. So you'd have to track things both based on structure. So tracking actual breakouts due to volume and delta. And then you could track things based on time. I do a little bit of both. And if you went back to June, there's the bottom and there is your NPOC. So this is your range from June. So a structure range before we broke out, there's your exact high. If price broke above, the major box, let's say that the 2021 low, give or take, or $30,000. I'm targeting 32, but then looking up to 38,922. And I think everyone will have eyes on the gold pocket at that point. And so it would make sense to me to get a bigger retrace off of there, because then everyone, it seems 50K is all but certain at that point. You know, that's when you get that large rally and people FOMO because they're like, well, shit, we're going to at least 50K. That's where you could run into trouble, in my opinion. Now, in terms of a scenario like that, and this is all very hypothetical because we are still trading underneath the prior swing high as we've swung fell it this morning. So if you came up to these levels and you tagged something like the local highs here and took them, and then started giving up support coming back below 25K specifically, I would become a little more bearish and be looking more for like the $19,000 range, like 19,150 to like 19,500. But you know, that's not the end of the world. You're just playing a larger range in a different game at that point. And so it's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen. But for me, I am de-risking a little bit in terms of leverage for some of these longs that I've been holding for about a month and a half now, because time says to, and we're coming into major averages of price on a mean reversion. So we're just reverting back to the average right now. So until I see that broken, I'll be a little cautious, but I am in spot Bitcoin. I am leveraged as well on some accounts. So it's just kind of all about risk management.
Let's go. That's what I like to hear. Guys, just want to quickly remind everybody, thank you so much for the super chat. Unforgettable name. I think it says star-studded TA cast today. Let's go. Guys, just want to remind everybody, today's show is sponsored by Price CPA. If we are talking about trading, we are talking about crypto. It is tax season. So if you're worried about taxes, this might be your first cycle, right? And you have to pay some crypto taxes. This is the guy right here, Anthony Price. His link is down below in the channel, in the description. Go to him. He saves people tens of thousands of dollars on their taxes and helps you stop being afraid of doing your crypto taxes. So guys, go check that out. Link is down below. Greatly appreciate everybody. And guys, just smash the likes. If we haven't smashed the likes, we got 100 people in here. We got Frankie Candles, we got Magic Internet Money, and we got Bill Noble in the house, guys. If you aren't following these guys, I don't know what you're doing in the TA realm. These are the guys to be following, and they come on here every single Thursday to bring you the best possible TA for free. For free. Where else do you get that, right? Besides their individual channels. So if you want more of it, you got to go follow them. It's that simple. So guys, Frankie, talk about $32,000 Bitcoin. We talked about a possible 38,000. I'm feeling pumped now, right? The markets are pumping. Talking about 32,000. The master here, Magic Internet Money, says we could hit 38,000. Not saying it's gonna happen tomorrow, right? How are we feeling about Ethereum, man? How are we feeling about, everybody's favorite altcoin, Ethereum? Because I feel like, a lot of people are priced out of Bitcoin. A lot of people say, well, Bitcoin's great, but I don't hold any, or I hold crumbs. It's not going to do anything for my portfolio. But we know that if Bitcoin pumps, the altcoins pump. And how is Ethereum in your eyes right now?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and pull up a chart here. Let me just make sure I get the right chart. Believe it's on here. Boom, there it is. Okay, so for Ethereum, now obviously, Ethereum was looking pretty similar to me as Bitcoin was looking, but as far as kind of higher targets for Ethereum, if Ethereum decides to break out as well, obviously if Bitcoin does, Ethereum is likely to follow, but kind of the next targets I have to the upside for Ethereum, obviously, kind of just looking at the volume as well. Obviously, we do have, not really that much of a gap, but we do have a lot of fall off on this volume up here. So kind of the next major levels, if we can crack above this, 1850 level, I will be looking up to about 2000. It's funny, I was on Blockchain Basement, one of our other shows that we have at BitBoy Crypto. And we were talking a few weeks ago about how, hey, if this rally starts to really start going, 2K on Ethereum is going to come up pretty quick. And, now just looking here, it doesn't even look very far away at this point.
We're hitting 1700 right now.
Yeah, and it really did come. I actually think we were talking about 1700. I mean, during that show, we were somewhere down here, and I'm just saying, guys, like if this thing really breaks out, we could start seeing these visits at these higher levels like very, very quickly. It's going to happen. Before you know it, you're going to wake up and be like, when did ETH hit, $2,000? But yeah, $2,000 is going to be a big level. Obviously, you get that psychological level of resistance, and then right above there, about 21,173 is the next level I have kind of coming to retest the highs of this area of consolidation here. And then you could see, obviously, once you get above that level, that's kind of where the volume starts to pick back up. And then it's kind of the start of this big high volume node. So I kind of do think if we do get a bigger move up on Ethereum, I think we will start to stall out kind of when, like I said, not really a gap, but kind of just a fall off in the volume here. Obviously, we do have some, small spikes in volume here. But again, if we could get above these levels, I do think we could get moving pretty quickly up to that $2,000 level. And then once we start, kind of hitting up against this big high volume node here, that's kind of where we'll either slow down and start to kind of grind our way up. And then obviously this high volume node here at about 2,600 would be a good level to watch. And then eventually, kind of the way I personally look at these volume profiles is, price likes to stick to the high volume nodes, right? So once we kind of leave this high volume node right here and price breaks up and decisively really breaks out away from this high volume node, you again kind of have that fall off in volume, and then price is naturally going to kind of hunt out that next high volume node, and the next highest volume node, at least in this range here, does kind of come up near these levels, kind of peaking out at about 31.76 is where that node kind of is. So that's kind of just how I look at these volume profiles. Once you leave one high volume node, you're likely going to hunt out the next one. And then that's kind of where I got these levels from, that $2,000 level, this $2,000 level, the almost $2,200 level. But then, kind of getting back up here, which obviously we would be getting, pretty close to, bull run territory up there. I would kind of liken that to the 48, 50K Bitcoin levels kind of up here. But just kind of looking where the volume is. And I would say, kind of higher
Quick
3K
question.
range. Yeah.
Quick question. As a TA noob here, right? You showed that volume profile, and there is that indent, right, of low volume. Does that mean that area is going to be less resistance for the price to go through, since there wasn't a lot of like time spent there before? And then once we start hitting the higher node of volume, then we start hitting some level of resistance, or am I incorrect in thinking that?
No, you're basically right there. You'll kind of notice if I take the all the drawings off here, you could kind of see that, like I said, like price likes to stick to the high volume nodes. So you could kind of see, anytime you have these big high volume nodes, price kind of just up and down, just ranges right there. Even down here, you have this big high volume node. You just kind of range around there, and then you could see, this is pretty clear example. You could see this big empty gap here, this very super low volume node right here. Typically, what you see in these areas is exactly what you just said. There's really not much kind of holding us back there, and a lot of times you could see, it doesn't just happen once. You could see here. Right before we lost this level right about here, I believe this was the FTX collapse. And once you lose that level, you could see price absolutely free falls through that low volume gap. And then it works the same way on the way to the upside, right? You kind of come up, you retest these highs from over here. And then once you break out of that level, you get another very, very quick move to the upside, again, flying right through that gap. So you're basically, that is exactly how I look at them. When you entered those low volume gaps, there's really no support or resistance, depending on which way you're looking at it. And those gaps do work both ways. And if you just look at the price action, you'll see, you also kind of fell through that gap right here, quick move down, quick move right back up, and then another quick move down, and then another quick move up, and it's all just falling right through that volume gap.
Perfect, dude. Thank you for that clarification.
Of
Bill,
course.
you mentioned something interesting a little while ago. You mentioned ETH, and you mentioned it, leading the charge. So we, like I said earlier, a lot of people are not that hyped up about Bitcoin because a lot of people are priced out of Bitcoin, but a lot of people are not priced out of Ethereum, and they have been accumulating, right? Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, I can't believe I missed $800 ETH, right? We were talking about that. We've been doing this show for about 30 weeks straight now. We've been doing this show on the TA, the TA charts. So give me your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking here about Ethereum leading the charge. There are a lot of people talking about the flipping and other altcoins flipping Ethereum. So give me your thoughts on this right here. What's going on here?
Okay, so ETH becomes your ultimate altcoin, as you noted. So the second Bitcoin stops, altcoins rip again, circa 2017, 2018. Those rips back then were pretty powerful. So this is a hand-kept Gantt chart of Ethereum. Each bar is 1 day of price action. These lines are drawn using angles, not necessarily trend lines. This angle right here, this line gave you huge support at 1500. That particular line, can't show it. It's on a chart that stretches all the way across my bed and over. That's how far back it goes. So this support was epic. And then you went and you took out the next Gann line at 1650. So if ETH just sits here on 1650, in a way, it's at the high end of the range, but in another way, it's actually resting on support. That's the sort of good news about using these diagonal mechanisms to look at price. So you can be at the higher end of the recent range, but you can also be on support. So yes, there is congestion at 1700, but I'm not afraid of 1700 anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if ETH starts to break out, Frankie basically said the same thing. There's nothing but graph paper here. There's no line. There's no angle. There's nothing. You could be at 2000, right? And the way I do it with time is just to find where the angles intersect. So this is February 22nd, and there's a lot of twos here, but on 2/22, ETH could be at 2000 simply because what people think is resistance may not be resistance. Then if you just look at ETH versus Bitcoin, and again, I'm sorry I'm embarrassing him, but you know, Magic pretty much just told you, right? If Bitcoin hangs out at 24 to 26, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Okay. This formation is a diamond. This is probably the most explosive formation in TA. It's more explosive than the expanding range when it breaks out, and you're getting close to the apex of the formation. That's what I drew with this little green triangle here, like the tip end. The closer you get to the tip end of anything like this that's triangular, the more violent the breakout. Okay. The breakout can be the distance of the range from the point that it leaves. So this chart is telling you that you could have Ethereum versus Bitcoin go and make some kind of like crazy move to where it was back in 2018. Like you could have, you could have basically a buying climax in ETH. Everyone goes, oh, wow, it's up 5%. That's a lot. Actually, it isn't. It isn't, because you have to think of ETH now like tech stocks. Remember, go back to 2009. Everyone gets bearish. Then it starts to go up. And then the liquidity from the Fed drove the market. In this case, right, everybody gets bearish, FTX. Then the market goes up. And now everyone's like, what do I do? Back then, what you should have done was rode the wave of Fed liquidity and bought tech stocks. Today, when they come out of stable coins, you should ride the wave of liquidity and go to ETH. ETH, right? And I got another chart.
Quick question before you jump into the next chart. That diamond, how much longer do we have for that diamond to resolve, whether it's to the upside or the lower side? How much longer do you think we have? How many candles can fit in that little apex? 5-6 weeks, you say, or less?
Less. Let me pull it back up again. I lost it there. I would say you're talking about 15 days.
15 days.
15
Oof.
days.
Let's go. That's by the end of this month, baby. Chemistry bro over here is bullish. He says, name another asset that's deflationary, has a yield, gets more deflationary with increased usage, and is set up to have the largest percents of that decreasing supply locked up. It's only ETH, baby. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of people are super bullish on ETH. Also, somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, don't sleep on Polygon. You know, Polygon is another one that's been building tons of things going on there, and they're on top of, you know, on top of ETH along with their own layer one as well. So, man, you go ahead.
Okay,
show your
just a quick correction. Just want to make sure we get this straight. So this is actually a weekly chart. Okay. And, you know, I understand we're still getting close to this apex. So the answer to your question is, it looks like April 24th. So in the spring, my hope 24th. Is that's the absolute apex. I'm thinking it goes before that, but the point's been made, right?
Apparently that's a special day. That's a special day. So we're all excited for when that comes around. I'm putting that in my calendar, and we'll talk about it as we get closer to that time. I mean, that also kind of sets us up for the whole May thing you know, where you
Sell in May, walk away. Yeah.
kind of thing. So that does make a lot of sense there as well. Magic, I'm not going to ask you about Ethereum. I'm going to ask you about something a little different. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you about Polygon, right? Somebody was mentioning Polygon. Polygon is highly correlated with Ethereum. How are you seeing Polygon ride this wave, right? Because Polygon is at like $1.30, $1.20 something cents. It's almost like halfway, or at least a third of the way to its previous all-time high, and it's been performing very strong throughout this bear market. And I've heard, you know, people talk about how it might not perform that amazing in the next cycle because it's been performing so strong now. So I want to get your thoughts on that and Polygon in general.
Polygon's one of my bigger bags. Anyone that's been following me on TikTok since 2021 knows that I was looking to buy between 40 and 30 cents. So that's where I filled my bag. First take profits for me was right around $1.30. Pretty easy target. But you do have some things in the charts, and it is a little bit more bullish than other assets have been. Like the pullback on this was nil. And I'll get rid of the fun here. So this was the setup originally to take profit here. And it was a perfect one-to-one in both time and price, which was really nice. Not to rhyme, but just how it worked out. You have this NPOC that I was targeting. If we get above the yearly pivot, which is coming in at 122, you just never came back and retested this area right here. So this is a nice range, but this, just like what Ethereum is trying to do right now, because Ethereum is trying to do this on the monthly time frame at 1785. That July high for me is really key. If you were to zoom out a little bit, and I'll get rid of, it looks like this is last month. Get rid of that and get rid of this month. And we'll get rid of the anchored VWAP, which it's always good to be above. If you go out to like the monthly and the 3 month on this, what you're going to notice is that you put in a range here and you hadn't closed any monthly candles above. It looks like 101.97 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. You finally did here. And if you go out to the quarterly chart, you can actually see the exact same right here. 2 quarters, you were below this high right here at $1.05. So between $1.01 and $1.05 was your predetermined resistance going into this. And as soon as you finally broke above it, what do? You break out and you go to about $1.30. And so if you can get above this level, you're looking for your statistical targets. However, there's always a little bit of fun in the folders, as you know. And I did have another idea for this one that I was waiting to see. And so this would be more of a bat pattern, taking you up somewhere around like $1.57 to $1.60. It could go higher than that, but I like to kind of keep things just, you know, the targets need to make sense. And this does, because from a Fibonacci standpoint, these are correlations that work together well. And the really big dead giveaway on this one was that you had a big expansion down, you established your mid-range, and then you only had a 50% retrace to your low, and that's a 50% retrace to the B leg. So once you get the 50% and 50% combo, you're usually almost always looking for that range to expand to the 886 of X. So now I'm looking for the 886 up here to see what kind of reaction we're going to get. We have pretty close to a 2.24 to 2618 combination with that. So you've got convergence. And that's going to be the next target for me, because it's already blowing through 142. So not something I'd be looking to short. Just holding some bags and looking to take profit again up here and get an opportunity later to buy back in lower and wash, rinse, repeat. In terms of like an all-time high price point, I think I gave that, I gave it on Sin City. It was $5.79 to like $6 and some change. Doesn't mean it can't go. Yeah, I know that's not that exciting because last all-time high, and this is like full-on bull run stuff where, like, you know, we could be years away from this. You know, it got to $3. It's not the end of the world. It's just that would be a pretty big target for me, at least right off the rip. So that's what I'd be looking for. But in the short term, this is the trade that I've been monitoring, and this is the time that I've worked out for it. I believe it was based on a 1-to-1 here. Maybe it's the 1.618. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's pretty close to it. Somewhere in this region right here, because you've already surpassed your 1-to-1, which essentially caught your low. So that's how I'm looking at for Polygon. You know, if you break back below these lows around 119, yeah, you're going to get this retest of this box. And that's really, really important. If you lose the dollar zone, which we're so far away from, is not really worth having the conversation on right now. There's a good chance that you're going to rotate this range in full and probably come all the way down to the July NPOC around 52 cents. That's like worst case scenario. However, once this pattern completes, the target of that, assuming you get rejection here, you can't just short automatically. It's not an automatic short or anything. It's only a place that you're looking for a reaction, because it's just the most likely place for it to occur. If it occurs in this region, you're looking to take it back down to what? Retest an old range. And again, this is the area that we need to see holding. And that's all it would be, is just a retest of support, right? So that's how I'd be trading Matic right now.
Dude, let's go. I mean, Matic is one that I'm definitely bullish on. I wish I would have picked up more under $1. Let me tell you, I never expected it to pump is so aggressively throughout this bear market, but it just had such massive amount of partnerships, right? It's had tons of things they're building the ZK EVM now that they're coming out with soon. Like, they're just doing so much. And I remember everybody being worried about it when, you know, the merge happened for ETH. They're like, well, what's going to happen with Polygon? Is Polygon going to die? Well, let me tell you, they had plans, and those plans are coming together.
I just learned about ZK rollups because 01 Labs does their marketing, and I know the head of marketing for 01 Labs, so she works with Mina Protocol as well. And so she's been blowing me up about Mina and Polygon and a few other chains that they're looking to get involved on. And they're all the charts on those look great. So I was like, oh man, I'm gonna invest in some of these. So, you know,
Magic's got the inside information. Got the inside information.
Share it with us.
learning from the best, Nancy Pelosi.
Charts
Shout
on
out
the
to Nancy
screen.
Pelosi, best trader ever.
411 on the cell phone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
It's all in the text messages, all in the DMs, guys.
yeah, number one indicator.
Guys, smash the likes if you haven't smashed the likes. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and go follow all these guys. Their links are down below at the description of the video. Make sure you go follow them. They're bringing you great information out here. One last round across the table here for the panelists. What is an altcoin? You don't even have to show me it. You don't even have to show me a chart if you don't want to. What is an altcoin that has not been mentioned today that you guys are looking at that could be very bullish here in the short period of time? No one's shilling. This is not to shill. There's never financial advice. Just something that you guys are looking at. I personally am looking at Cardano, and what was the other one that I can't remember the other one I was looking at right now. But what about you guys? Frankie, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so I love this question because it's like it's kind of I feel like the number one thing I want to say is Ethereum. Shout out to Chemistry Bro in the chat. So ETH, but I feel like it's a little bit of a cop out. Then I instantly go like, how about, you know, XRP? That's still kind of a cop out. You know, but yeah, I would say for the most part, you know, I would say XRP normally, but I kind of like, I already have my bag of XRP. I'm not really accumulating anymore. You know, I'm still playing XRP as, you know, somewhat of a risky play, right? You know, I'm not just like holding a ton of XRP, hoping for it to go to these crazy numbers that everybody's calling for. And by crazy numbers, I don't mean $10. I mean, there's people out there, you know, calling for like hundreds of dollars for XRP. So I'm not one of those people. But I am the reason I'm bullish on XRP is because, you know, from where I bought in at, it was kind of, in my opinion, very high or low risk, high reward. Because, you know, at the time when I was buying XRP, it's like, you know, what's going to happen if they lose a lawsuit? Like, how much lower is it going to go? So I'll stick with XRP because usually I say XRP and then I say it's a cop out and I pick something else. But I'm going to stick with XRP because I feel like this lawsuit has got to be coming to an end soon. So, you know, hopefully they win. But I think even if they lose, you know, they're just going to take it out of America. I don't think XRP is really going to go anywhere either way. So I'll say XRP.
We're gonna have to talk about that after the show, dude, because we don't talk about it. Nah, just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah, TJ would love that.
Bill, what is one altcoin you're super bullish on that you're looking at right now?
You know, I took a look at Near Protocol. Okay, so you know,
is it near all-time highs?
No, it is not. It's the bigger the base, the higher into space, right? It's just, it's been dead since like April of last year, right? There was a DeMark 13 top, okay, which sent it into a range. Okay, so if I take the DeMark work off just for a second, the DeMark Elliott wave's pretty simple, right? The 0 is where the move starts. 1, 2, this decline, right, came right, you know, right to that old prior low. So this looks like higher lows. And if you have 1, 2, and then you should have a 3 wave, which should mean a new high. I mean, just on a trading basis. Okay. And the new high based on the DeMark work, right? The sort of blow off top, the minimum would be $3. Now, you know, I know you can look at this and be like, okay, well, that's nice. But then if you look at it this way, I mean, do you need a TA book to know that this could be the bigger the base, the higher in the space? Right.
Dude, I love that phrase.
Right.
I love that too. I'm taking that. I'm stealing it.
Right. I mean, in 2019, I was on a Sunday live stream this is just what ETH did at 300, right? The longer, it's hard to find something that's actually been dead since, say, April or June, stuff that never recovered from even Celsius, right? Sometimes there were these rallies. You look at this, I won't take up much airtime, right? What happens if Web3 goes from cringy, first it was fashionable, then it was cringy, and then what happens if people who are not necessarily fully crypto native go, I need exposure to large cap crypto because I got to get out of stable coins?
Dude, say it one more time. Say it one more time.
The bigger the base, the higher into space.
Let's go. Let's go. That's
Bill, you're going to make me FOMO into near right now. I feel like buying near right now. Jeez.
I mean, the trick is you got to find stuff that is in this basing setup, and then you got to find stuff that goes up and then comes back down to a support point that's not inherently obvious to everybody. Frankie had the volume gaps. Like my experience with that is markets love to attack super low volume and super high volume, right? It's just a question of saying, use it in research. You get paid for imagination, right? So start imagining where these things can go. And like I said, the second Bitcoin stalls out, this stuff's going to be gone, right? You can't sleep on this market. You can't.
Dude,
right? We got a solar storm coming up tonight. Solar storms normally create anxiety for people. So your astronomy action. So if this market doesn't go down, right, off like an anxiety period, perhaps the anxiety is fear of missing out.
Ooh,
okay.
I like it.
So
I like it.
If everybody gets hit with, oh, I don't have enough crypto. Oh my God. Everyone's like, oh, there's not enough liquidity. Well, thanks to Gary, there is now.
Once again, that's a great point. Magic, what do you got? What is one altcoin you are looking at?
Oh, I'm super boring. I've been shilling the heck out of Polkadot in terms of this low. Bill's been watching me call for this one. If we lose this level, where are we going? We're going to $4.19. You also had a Q4 2020 NPOC left over that filled this box out at about 438. Yeah, 438. That's where I filled my bids. We've ran it back to the old range value area low, local low right here. So what I'm looking to do on this one is, again, we're talking mean reversion. That's all we're doing. This is your resistance. You can see you're holding it as support. It's your prior base low, both on a statistical average standpoint and a wick standpoint. So you need to see 678 reclaimed convincingly. And if you do, I think you're going to run it. You're going to take this high, hit $9.99, $10 if you want to call it $10. But realistically, over time, if the market is truly bullish, you've left behind some things that statistically hit at close to 80% hit rates. So I'd be looking up to these targets, $9.99, $13.33, $14.96. And, I got in at $4. So for me, I'm loving it. Everybody was crapping on DOT at the lows. They were saying, I can't believe this thing went from 52 to 4. It's a dead project. I'm going to buy it. Same thing happened with Algorand. It hit my box. So I got into Algorand sub 20 cents, and I'll be looking to take that one up as well back to 50. So,
dude, great. That's massive move. Massive move here. What's his Flat Mass says, I just want to be a trillionaire at some point. Well, that gives me a good little piece of advice I can give you. Well, if you want to be a trillionaire, you're going to have to pay your taxes. Right, that's just the way it works. Because if not, you're going to go to jail, and then no one's a trillionaire in jail, guys. So make sure you hit the link down below. Check out Price CPA. It is the sponsor of the show, right? Helping people save tons of money with their taxes. This could be your first time around with crypto taxes. You might be scared. You might not understand what's going to happen. This guy will take care of you. He will take you through the whole thing from zero knowledge all the way to being an expert. And he's going to make sure that you are 100% A-okay with your taxes. So make sure you check out the link down below. Price CPA is where it's at, guys. I appreciate it. But guys, I appreciate all of you guys coming on here 100% every single Thursday, right? You guys bring on the heat, right? Whether it's bullish or it's bearish, you got nothing but the 100% the truth here. And like always, it's never financial advice, but I greatly appreciate every single person's time to come on here for an hour and talk about these things. You guys could be anywhere doing anything on your own channels, but you guys come on here and you bless us with your presence and you help us as a channel as well. So I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Frankie Candles, Bill Noble, Magic Internet Money. I do say thank you to you guys. You guys are pros, masters, experts in the subject matter. So who else to have on here besides you guys? So final words before we say goodbye.
I'll just say thanks for having me on. It's been a while since I've been on the show, just schedule changes and stuff. It's super, super refreshing to get back on the show. Definitely want to come on a lot more. It's been a long time since I've seen everybody else's perspective on things, and it's an honor to be next to you guys. So thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Anytime, dude. You're welcome anytime. If any other final words, if not, we're closing it out, guys.
Don't get off the bus.
Don't get off the bus.
The train. Don't get off the bus. Don't. I know you want to. You're probably like, oh God, it's gonna go down. Yeah, it can correct. Don't get off the bus.
What was the phrase again? What was the phrase?
Yeah, hit it again.
Oh yeah. You know, we can do it with the Polkadot chart. It's called the bigger the base, the higher into space.
There you go.
Dude,
there you go.
It's so good.
It just hits different.
You know, Polkadot, right? Base, space, base, space.
That's
Very,
good.
very sophisticated, I know, but it works.
He's cracked the code.
What about you, Magic? Final words for the people?
I was just going to say thanks for having me on as well. And then you guys, I preach it every time I'm on here. If you guys don't have a plan, don't trade. Even if you don't have a plan, it's still wise to sit down with yourself and you're just DCAing and make sure that you've written it down. You've got goals, you know what you're doing, and you've weighed the risk. That's it. Otherwise, enjoy yourselves.
100%. So like always, guys, question everything, trust nothing. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. See you guys.